Hello and welcome back to the channel. New York City, bright lights, towering dreams, and shadows that stretch back centuries. Behind its fame are forgotten faces, people who walked its streets, shaped its story, and in some cases, never truly left. Now, thanks to AI colorization and restoration, we're bringing 15 of New York's most haunting historical figures back to life. Their names may have slipped from headlines, but their stories echo in alleyways, archives, and whispered legend. Let us know in the comments who surprised you the most, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell, so you never miss a resurrection from the past. Let's begin. 1. Mary Mallon, Typhoid Mary. Mary Mallon was a tragic figure at the center of a public health nightmare, an Irish immigrant cook who became one of history's most infamous asymptomatic carriers. Perfectly healthy herself, she was an unwitting vessel for typhoid fever, unknowingly spreading the deadly disease to dozens of families in early 20th century New York. Branded Typhoid Mary by the press, she was hunted down and forced into decades of quarantine, a human pathogen stripped of her liberty for the good of the public. Her case became a landmark ethical battleground between individual rights and collective safety. Now, artificial intelligence restores her portrait, cutting through the sensationalism to reveal a guarded, stoic expression, her features etched with the profound conflict of a woman caught between being a victim of biology and a villain in the public eye. Two, Marie Tussaud. Long before her name became synonymous with celebrity wax museums, Marie Tussaud was an artist forged in the fires of the French Revolution. As a young woman in Paris, she was forced to create death masks of the guillotined elite, including King Louis XVI, Marie Antoinette, and Robespierre, preserving the faces of the very terror she was desperate to escape. She fled to London and eventually brought her macabre collection to America, giving New York its first taste of her unique, horrifying art form. Today, artificial intelligence reanimates her historical portraits, revealing a poised and intensely focused face, her steady gaze and firm features embodying the rare combination of a meticulous artist and a hardened survivor who turned history's horrors into a global spectacle. Three, Peter Stuyvesant. Peter Stuyvesant was the iron-fisted, peg-legged autocrat who ruled the Dutch colony of New Amsterdam with an unyielding will. As the last Director General, he brought order to the chaotic, fledgling settlement, establishing laws and defenses with a stern, authoritarian grip. He was a deeply religious and notoriously cantankerous leader who fought pirates, smugglers, and anyone who defied his rule, shaping the character of the city before it was ever called New York. This formidable colonial governor is now being viewed through the clarifying lens of artificial intelligence. Restored portraits reveal a hardened, uncompromising face, his severe features and intense gaze perfectly matching the legend of the man whose stubborn spirit is still said to haunt the East Village. Four, William Boss, Tweed. William Boss. Tweed was the larger-than-life embodiment of Gilded Age corruption, the political powerhouse who ran New York City's Tammany Hall machine like a personal empire. Through a vast network of patronage and graft, his Tweed ring systematically plundered the city treasury, stealing tens of millions of dollars while simultaneously funding the construction of major civic projects. He was both a builder and a thief, a man who controlled every lever of power from the mayor's office to the police force. Now, this titan of graft is being brought into sharp focus by AI. Restored images reveal his famous thick-jowled smirk and deeply calculating eyes, capturing the face of a man who saw New York not as a city to serve, but as a treasure chest to be looted. 5. Elizabeth Jennings Graham. A full century before Rosa Parks became a symbol of the civil rights movement, Elizabeth Jennings Graham, a black schoolteacher, made her own courageous stand in New York City. In 1854, after being forcibly ejected from a segregated horse-drawn streetcar, she refused to be silenced. With the help of a young lawyer named Chester A. Arthur, she sued the streetcar company and won, a landmark victory that led to the desegregation of the city's public transit system. Today, this forgotten pioneer is being seen with new clarity through artificial intelligence. Restored portraits bring back her dignified expression, revealing a soft strength and a quiet fire in her eyes. The face of a woman whose refusal to be moved set a powerful precedent in the long fight for equality. Six. Herman Melville. While his mind was wrestling with literary leviathans, Herman Melville spent nearly 2 decades in quiet obscurity as a customs inspector on the docks of New York City. After the commercial failure of Moby Dick, the author who had once sailed the world retreated into the anonymous grind of a government job, a daily routine of inspecting cargo on Gansevoort Street. He was a ghost in his own time, a literary giant walking among men who had no idea of the tempestuous genius in their midst. Now, this haunted figure is being brought into sharper focus by artificial intelligence. Restored photographs highlight his melancholy eyes and a storm-worn expression, revealing the face of a man who had seen the deepest parts of the ocean and human nature, only to be forgotten by the world he wrote for. Seven. Fernando Wood. Fernando Wood was one of New York City's most brilliant, corrupt, and controversial mayors, a pro-Southern Democrat who governed on the eve of the Civil War. As tensions between North and South reached a breaking point, Wood made a shocking proposal that New York City should secede from the Union and become a neutral free city called Tri-Insula. His loyalty lay with the city's powerful cotton merchants, who depended on Southern trade. Today, this audacious politician is viewed with newfound intimacy by AI. The restoration of his portraits captures a refined, cunning face, his sharp features and fiery eyes reflecting the mind of a master political operator who nearly broke the nation apart to protect his city's wealth. Eight. Victoria Woodhull. Decades before women had the right to vote, Victoria Woodhull blazed a trail of radical defiance through New York City. Alongside her sister, she opened the first female-run brokerage firm on Wall Street, published a newspaper that championed controversial ideas like free love, and, in 1872, became the first woman to run for president of the United States. She was a spiritualist, a feminist, and a firebrand, denounced from pulpits as Mrs. Satan for challenging every societal norm. Artificial intelligence, restoring her photographs, brings back her confident, penetrating stare and revolutionary resolve, revealing the face of a woman who was utterly fearless and centuries ahead of her time. Nine. Philip Hamilton. Philip Hamilton was the bright, promising, and beloved eldest son of Alexander Hamilton, a young man who seemed destined to carry on his father's formidable legacy. At just 19 years old, he embodied his father's pride and fierce sense of honor. When a New York lawyer named George Eaker publicly insulted his father, Philip challenged him to a duel in Weehawken, New Jersey. In a tragic echo of what was to come, he was mortally wounded in the confrontation. Today, artificial intelligence restores his youthful portrait, bringing back the handsome, confident face of a young man filled with pride and potential, his expression forever frozen in the tragic moment before he repeated his father's fatal mistake. 10. Clement Clark Moore. Clement Clark Moore was a respected New York City scholar of Hebrew and theology, a serious intellectual who unintentionally gave the modern world its most enduring vision of Christmas. In 1822, for the amusement of his own children, he penned a light-hearted poem titled A Visit from St. Nicholas. That poem, better known as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," transformed the image of St. Nicholas into the jolly, magical Santa Claus we know today. This quiet academic is now being brought into clearer focus by artificial intelligence. Restored images reveal his thoughtful, scholarly features and kind eyes, capturing the gentle, literary mind who not only developed the Chelsea neighborhood, but also gifted the world its most beloved holiday myth. "11. Mamie Fish. In the opulent, rigid world of New York's Gilded Age, Mamie Fish was a force of gleeful chaos. As one of the era's three great socialites, she ruled high society not with stuffy tradition, but with shocking wit and bizarrely themed parties. She once hosted a dinner in honor of a friend's dog, who arrived adorned in a diamond collar, and threw a ball where the guest of honor was an elephant. She was the jester in the court of the Astors and Vanderbilts, a woman who used her immense wealth to poke fun at the very world she dominated. AI, enhancing her portraits, brings back her sharp, high cheekbones and a knowing, mischievous smile. The face of a woman who understood that the best way to master high society was to never take it seriously. "12. Reverend Edward W. Hall and Eleanor Mills. In 1922, a gruesome discovery in a quiet New Jersey lane sent shockwaves through New York society. A respected Episcopal priest, Reverend Edward W. Hall, and a choir singer from his church, Eleanor Mills, with whom he was having an affair, were found murdered, their bodies arranged in a bizarre tableau under a crab-apple tree. Love letters were scattered between them. The ensuing investigation became a media circus, a sensational tale of love, betrayal, and mystery that implicated Hall's wealthy wife. Now, artificial intelligence restores their faces, capturing the youthful, secretive expressions of the two lovers, forever frozen in the moment before their scandal became one of America's most haunting and notorious unsolved crimes. 13. John Jacob Astor IV. John Jacob Astor IV was American royalty, the heir to a colossal real estate and fur trading fortune that made him one of the wealthiest men in the world. He was a quintessential New York figure of the Gilded Age, a man who built grand hotels like the St. Regis, wrote a science fiction novel, and served in the Spanish-American War. His life of immense privilege came to a heroic and tragic end when he boarded the RMS Titanic. As the ship sank, he calmly helped his pregnant young wife into a lifeboat, ensuring her safety before stepping back to face his own fate. AI restores his portraits, bringing back a steady, dignified gaze and the calm features of a man who embodied old money authority and, in his final moments, profound courage. "14. Rose Butler. In 1819, the story of Rose Butler cast a harsh light on the brutal realities of racial injustice in early New York. A 17-year-old enslaved black girl, Butler was accused of attempting to burn down her master's house, an act of desperation or defiance in a city that had not yet abolished slavery. Despite a questionable confession and a trial marked by racial bias, she was convicted and publicly executed, becoming the last woman to be hanged for arson in New York. Artificial intelligence, restoring the few records of her appearance, brings back a young, resolute face, a visage of a teenager caught in an unforgiving system. Her story, a haunting reflection of the deep-seated injustices brewing just beneath the city's surface. 15. Charles Ponzi. Before his name became a global synonym for fraud, Charles Ponzi was a small-time schemer honing his craft on the streets of North America, including a stint in New York. Though his most infamous scheme, using money from new investors to pay earlier ones, would later explode in Boston, the seeds of his deceptive genius were sown in his early struggles and ambitions. He was a master of confidence, a man who could sell an impossible dream with irresistible charm. Now, artificial intelligence restores his early photographs, capturing his trademark wide-eyed charm and the magnetic smile that concealed a lurking deception, revealing the face of the man who gave the world the timeless blueprint for financial ruin. "15 faces, 15 ghosts." They weren't all heroes. Some were forgotten, some were feared, but all were New Yorkers. AI hasn't just sharpened their portraits, it's reopened the alleyways of memory. Which figure still haunts your imagination? Let us know in the comments. Click here to watch more.